Okay, before I start the questions this week, I'd just like to say a short and sweet message. A lot of people have been saying lately that their question for the Friday video isn't getting answered for about 3 weeks. All I have to say is the question count on the homepage is there for a reason. Before you ask a question, check the question count. If the number is high, you're going to have to probably wait a few weeks. And if you're not prepared to wait a few weeks, don't ask a question. And if you ask a question knowing that the number is high, don't complain. And that's all I have to say. I'm actually really looking forward to this game because the original Banjo-Kazooie was a classic. Banjo-Tooie was above average, but I wouldn't call it a classic. And Banjo-Kazooie 3 will hopefully have the good gameplay measures that Banjo-Kazooie had. And I'm actually hoping that Banjo-Kazooie 3 is going to get nominated for a Game of the Year. That is my high expectations for that game. If it's a pile of shit, then... I have heard of that game, but I can't say I've ever played it. When I was a kid, I never really saw that game on the shelf in the shops. So I doubt it's one of the most popular N64 games around. I have, however, played Legend of the Mystical Ninja on the SNES, and that was pretty good. Now, I could just get a ROM of the N64 version, but I haven't got around to it yet. But the SNES version was good, so I'm pretty sure the N64 version would be pretty damn good as well. I thought the gummy ship was a great feature in Kingdom Hearts. I spent quite a long time in it creating really cool gummy ships. However, the best one would have to be this one where it was like this size. One measly little block, but it wasn't any old block. It had missiles and cannons sticking out of it as well. So it was a tiny little block flying through space with big rocket launchers and missiles and stuff attached to it. And because it was so small that enemy ships had trouble hitting it, so it was basically an indestructible ship. So I thought that was a pretty darn creative ship, if you ask me. One little block. I'm not really the biggest Conker fan in the world. I had Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64, but I never actually played it that much and never got around to completing it. I think I was really more into stuff like Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64, and shit like that. Okay, a lot of people somehow hate 4Kids, but I personally think they're not that bad at all. I think the main reason most people hate 4Kids is because they think that the voice acting is quite rubbish. While living here in the UK, living around Scottish people, Irish people, English people and Welsh people, I kind of hear funny accents all the time, so I really don't care what the characters sound like as long as I can make out what they're fucking saying. And another reason is maybe because sometimes they cut out some of the gory, bloody scenes. Well, after watching some of these cutscenes in Dragon Ball Z, they weren't actually that great anyway. But they were great, they just weren't all that much better than the show. I mean, the show would still be as good with or without the gory blood scenes. So honestly, I don't think 4Kids are doing a bad job at all. Okay, as I say a lot, I don't really play PC games that much, and as such I don't have any of the Warcraft games, and I probably won't have any either since I don't think my laptop is capable of playing such high graphic games, and I really don't want to get a graphics card just for some PC games, which I'll probably never play because, as I've said, I am not much of a PC gamer. I am somewhat excited about it, but to be fully honest, I'm actually more excited about Final Fantasy IV on the DS. Now why is this? Because Final Fantasy XII on the PS2 was a little bit of a disappointment to me. I mean, I really didn't like the battle system at all. It just felt completely wrong, in my opinion. If you're going to be able to run up to enemies and then select what you have to do to attack them, you're as well to just go up and kick the shit out of them without having to go through all these menus. So, and then shortly after that came Final Fantasy 3 DS, which did everything right again. They had the menus, but they didn't have it completely fucked up this time. They had it turn-based the way it should be. So I really hope that Final Fantasy XIII goes back to the turn-based system, or it may be another letdown. Well, this is a very interesting question, because I think you're kind of watching that video right this very minute. Honestly, I have no interest in that series whatsoever, because I just think it looks like crap. I think that's just a matter of personal preference though. I mean, you can't like everything in the world. Eventually you're going to come across something and you're going to think it's crap. And that is my case with The Godfather. Unfortunately I have, and I must say it is as shit as people make it out to be. Honestly, it is probably the worst game of all time, and I am so happy that you guys did not request that game while the game requests were open. You might wonder why the Angry Video Game Nerd hasn't reviewed that game yet. You want to know why? It's probably because it is so fucking terrible he doesn't want to review it. That is how bad that game is. So to all you viewers out there, I recommend you never think about playing that pile of shit. Okay, this was a hard one. I actually had to think about this one for a while. Now, usually I would say Super Mario 64 was the best, but then I thought about it, and I thought that Super Mario 64 is pretty much only good for nostalgia reasons. Needless to say, it is one of the greatest games of all time. However, there is a better one, which is much better than Super Mario 64 if you overlook all the nostalgia, and that game is Super Mario Galaxy. Yep, Super Mario Galaxy is in fact, in my opinion, the best Mario game. If you take away all the nostalgia and everything, it has the greatest gameplay of them all. Definitely the greatest graphics, one of the greatest storylines in there, one of the most addicting ones. You'll be able to go back and play it for a long time. So this one is probably definitely the best. I think actually what he was saying was quizzes that are in video games are not fun, not quizzes that are about video games. And that is actually very true, because there is nothing worse than being interrupted in a video game, only to have to answer several questions which you probably do not give a shit about. However, probably questions about video games are fun. Now and again. I wouldn't sit and do them forever because you'll get bored eventually, but the odd video game quiz here and there can be pretty fun. Recently I've been playing this game, Knight's Journey of Dreams on the Wii, and there is this one character in it. He's called Owl, and he is the most fucking annoying pile of shit in video game history. Basically what he does is he stands next to you and says, "Visitor, visitor, 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 visitor," and I feel like saying, "Yes, I get the fucking point, I'm a visitor, will you shut the fuck up?" So anyone who has played Knight's Journey of Dreams will know what I'm talking about, and Owl in Knight's Journey of Dreams is an annoying bastard, and I wish he was fucking dead. And right about now is the time for Guess That Game, and this week's Guess That Game is coming up right at you. Last week's Guess That Game was Super Smash Bros. Melee, and here is a list of people who guessed that right. The first person to guess that right, and the overall winner, is in fact Jaws 2. Now, I hope to fuck I pronounced that right. Darn these awkward usernames that I can hardly pronounce. So, hopefully, your name is pronounced Jaws 2! And this is the bit where we do a random poll, and this week's random poll is, What is your favourite Marvel character in the following list? Now, my favourite Marvel character in the list would have to be Spider-Man, because I absolutely love Spider-Man. So if you want to vote in this poll, then please follow the link in the video description. Last week we asked, which show do you think is better, Kenan and Kel or Drake and Josh? 45 people said Kenan and Kel, and 31 said Drake and Josh, making Kenan and Kel the overall victor. Also, I'd just like to quickly say that the review for Guitar Hero 3 is now very nearly finished. There's only a few things I need to do now, so you'll probably see it in the next few days. So far, it's pretty epic, and there's loads of surprises in it as well, so be sure to watch the whole thing when it comes out, probably Saturday or Sunday. That is the end of yet another Friday video. So next week will be the 12th one, and please remember to send in your questions, vote in the random poll, and have a go at Guess That Game for next week. And I'll see you all then.